what I love about what Henner did is that he believes so strongly that the control technique itself is so good that he's willing to withstand any criticism. He wants to hear all of the criticism. So that's why he took our meeting. He's like, I want to hear it.
Fair enough.
Even after being in that Shark Tank, so to speak, right? With guys that know what they're talking about, have the experience to talk about it. He took it a step further and was like, I want to hear more criticism. I want to hear criticism from your membership. Can I get in front of your membership to hear all of their questions and all of their criticism? So we're not advising him as a association. We can't legally advise him.
But you're obliging him.
But we are allowing him a space to hear criticism from experts.
That's healthy.
From people from all corners of California with all different backgrounds. And some of our members are doctors, lawyers, people who work in the space of police defense and civil court that have a different viewpoint, that will have different questions than I might have. Ken and I might be more concerned about the control aspects of, well, this grip is better than that grip. But a person like Dr. Peters from the, Institute of Prevention of In-Custody Death might have questions related to gas exchange in the lungs from that position, right? And so it's like just getting, and it's all about people just being better, and for the end user and the end practitioner, which is our concern, is what information is the young police officer armed with at 2:00 in the morning, in the middle of the night, when they're dealing with their fight for their death.
When my mom calls 911.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
And going back to talking about wanting to be fair, we don't only want to be fair, we have to be fair, because like you talked about earlier about some of the businesses, it's not just the practical aspect of force, it's the legal aspect. And we have different guys who, we're trying to set a standard, and they're teaching the same thing, but they're teaching it different ways. And some guys have their own classes. So
there has to be some congruency here.
Yeah. So, and in us being fair and giving that platform for people, like you said, might be our intellectual opposite, or our members might be mad at. If they're in the force world, if we're a place where they know that, hey, these guys are fair, I can say my piece. That's what we want. Because even in our conferences, we've been bringing our intellectual opposites in so that memberships can hear from somebody that might charge them or might do their OIS investigation review of internally and be like, no, that's not good. So we want to be a place where we create a standard for the use of force ideas, concepts, techniques, and we say these are good. These are good options. We have all these options, and then when a bad one comes up, we're like, no, that's not going to fly.
So I love that. So it's kind of the way I look at that with problem solving and being process focused, and that's what I hear you guys doing. Let's go through a process of understanding what this is.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges we might have with it? Let's vet it a little bit. Let's debate it a little bit. Let's confront it. I don't mean that in a negative way. Let's just head it head on, and let's talk to the source, right? And then let's give him an opportunity, as long as he hasn't taken that opportunity away from himself in some way in that initial meeting or whatever, and how that happened. But when and then discount it or whatever. So what you just said right there about these different solutions, I think that's the thing that an organization like CALFIA is, or has the opportunity to talk about and articulate. And that is, I think there's a lot of things, whether we're talking use of force, obviously is very broad, right? I mean, it's from hands-on to tools and all the things that comes in between. Obviously, there's language involved there too. And so the way I see this is what I've learned over my time. So whether we're looking at Henner and Jay and the things that they're doing, is there is always more than one way to solve a problem.
Yes,
right?
100%.
Always. And I think there are wrong ways to try and do that, but I think there's probably more right ways than wrong ways. But when you see a wrong way, it has to be confronted in that way, right? And if it could be a right way, well, then let's go and make sure we tease this thing out, or as people like to say, pressure test it.
Yes.
Or whatever, knowing that there will never be a perfect solution to any of it. And I think that's the fascinating part about this, but it also really bothers me when people either from the inside or the outside are so quick to say, well, that's bullshit, it'll never work.
Right.
Because, okay, well then show me a better fucking way.
Yeah.
like show me or do something remarkable and bring it to the table for the rest of us instead of sitting back and just saying everything doesn't work or that it's shitty or whatever.
Just being a bad idea.
Just being a bad idea. Exactly. So there's idea fairies, good idea fairies, and there's bad idea fairies. And that's important to take note of. But I think, again, coming from the CALFIA's perspective is as an officer who's busy doing shit all the time, right? And then maybe as a new officer, like I need to go somewhere to understand, like,
unless you're an SRO,
right? Well, that's something I didn't say at the beginning. I was like, I bet that job probably affords you like a schedule that allows you to do the things that you're doing with CALFIA in some way too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, like not that you couldn't do something else, but like for as much involvement as you have. And given kind of what that job description and how it works is, it probably gives you the opportunity to stay heavily involved and keep your finger on the pulse and be a contributor at CALFIA versus, if you're, I don't know, man, I don't know how you guys all do it with all the different adjunct duties that you have and all that stuff. But coming back, like I need a resource. I need somebody to go to where I can trust them to, like we've just spent a long time talking about all this, but I need it delivered to me in a way that I can understand it.
Cut through the noise.
Yeah. Cut through the noise. And yes, cut through the noise, but also make sure when I hang up the phone, I am clear, or hang up the internet, whatever I'm doing, wherever I'm consuming this information or leave this meeting, that I'm clear on what the thing is.
Yeah.
And so that takes a lot of skill.
Yeah.
And a lot
it's like, while you're talking, I'm thinking about the positional asphyxia bill. It's like positional asphyxia bill codifies positional asphyxia, which is still medically debated, right? We go down, we do the micro course with Post. We listen to what they're saying. We read the stuff. We were going to, and we come to the idea that what's the word? Realization that it's talking about body weight pressure unreasonably applied or techniques unreasonably applied. Well, we're not in the business of unreasonably applying anything.
Well, yeah. What does that mean?
So monitor, right? Monitor for breathing. But as far as unreasonable application of force, that's not what we're in the business for. So unless you're doing something that's crazy and you shouldn't be worried about this bill. There's some things that you should be, you should consider, important. Right? Mm-hmm. But yes, that's really the where the rubber meets the road with our association is taking these things that come out and going, we looked at it, we read it, we talked to this expert, we had a meeting with this lawyer. This is our take on it. Do these things.